Today we're taking a look at the JavaScript ternary operator. Let's talk about why it's called the ternary operator. Well, it's because it takes three arguments. It takes a conditional meaning something that will evaluate to true or false. And then it takes two more arguments. The first one of those two is if the conditional evaluates to true. And the second one of those is if the conditional evaluates to false. So the conditional, the true, and the false. Okay, so let's have a look at the ternary operator. So the way that it works is that it takes three inputs. The first one should be a conditional, something that will evaluate to true or false. And then you put a question mark, and then comes an expression. Then you put a colon, and then comes the second expression. So if the conditional evaluates to true, we run the first expression. Otherwise, we run the second one. And you can actually use multiple expressions inside each of these, but I will get to that later or to the end of the video. So the first example is a variable assignment. So let's say that we have a number that is 20, and then we want to describe our number. Num description. Then we check if our number is greater than 10, and if it is, we'll say num is large. Otherwise, we'll say num is small. So now, using the ternary operator, we get different assignments to this variable depending on the size of number. So now we can console log and see that this number is large, and if we change it to a small number, it will assign instead to num is small. So that is a very useful feature that you will see a lot. So let's move on to our second example. And this one you will also see a lot, and that is returning something from a function. So we'll get a function, we'll say get cost, and the cost will depend on if the person paying is a member or not. So we'll do return is member. Here comes the ternary. If it's a member, we'll return, let's make it formatted as a price. 2 otherwise we return. So now members will get a cheaper price. So let's call console log for member get cost, and since we're doing it for a member, we'll set it to true. And see, for member it will cost 2, but if it's not the member, it will cost 3. So this way of returning with a ternary is quite common as well. Our third example, then we're going to take a look at assignment inside an object, which is also quite a common thing. So let's say that we have an object here for a MacBook, and the model is a MacBook Air. It's not important, but let's say what the processor is. And since Mac is about to change architecture from x86 to ARM, we can do a ternary. So we'll say new date dot get full year. This will give us the current year. Is greater than 2020. Then set the processor to ARM, because in the future they will use ARM. Otherwise, return x86. So now let's look at our object. Since it is still 2020, we should get x86. So this should not be here. So we got the MacBook Air with x86. And if we do 2019 here, we get ARM instead. This is also quite a common pattern. And now for the final example, we're gonna do another function. I will call it logger. We'll take in a log entry. And let's create one of those log entries now. It will be an object. It will have a severity rating. Let's say that this one is quite severe, so it's a 5. And it has a message. Let's say that it's fire. So then we can do inside here log entry dot. We look at the severity. If it's greater than 4, then severity. Then we want to both log the message to the console, but we also want to console log some extra hazard signs just to show that this is a really severe thing happening. So to do multiple expressions inside this, I can write the false expression first. So here we just do log entry dot message. But in this one, let's say that I want to make 2 expressions in here. I wanted 2 things to happen. Then I can separate them with a comma. So I can do console.log I'll do some exclamation marks. And then I'll do console log message. So let's try it out. Logger. And we'll pass in our log entry. So this was a 5. So let's see, log leg entry. So since it is severe, we get both of these expressions evaluated. If it was not severe, we just get 1. This is how we can make multiple expressions inside just one expression. I want to give also a bonus example. If we were in React now, and there you're rendering by returning JSX, this special HTML syntax that React uses, then you would probably see something like this. So we have a boolean, and here's inside the markup. So we make a curly brace to say that now we're not in the markup mode anymore, now we're in JavaScript land. We look at the boolean, the conditional, and then if we are logged in, we say currently, otherwise we say not. So we will say the user is currently logged in, otherwise it will say the user is not logged in. So even in React you would use the ternary for a couple of things. So if you like this video, please press the like button, and if you're not yet a subscriber, please consider becoming one, because that helps the channel a lot.